अथ मे कुरु कल्याणं कामं कमललोचन अथ प्रसन्नं भूमन् अमोघं हि महीयसि। अथ मे कुरु कल्याणं कामं कमललोचन आर्तोपसर्पणं भूमन् अमोघं हि महीयसि. Word by word meaning. Atha, therefore, me, unto me, Kuru, kindly do, Kalyanam, benediction, Kamam, desire, Kamalalochana, O lotus-eyed one, Artha, of the distressed, Upasarpanam, the approaching, Bhuman, O great one, Omogham, without failure, he, certainly, Mahiyasi, to a great person. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Translation. O lotus-eyed one, kindly bless me by fulfilling my desire. When someone in distress approaches a great person, his place would never go in vain. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Diti knew well that her request might be rejected because of the untimely situation, but she pleaded that when there is an emergency or a distressful condition, there is no consideration of time or situation. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूप साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहित कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्राय सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for joining today for the Srimad Bhagavatam class. These days we are discussing about the pregnancy of Diti. The subject matter is very beautiful and very, very powerful side by side. I am not qualified. My knowledge is very limited. So, but with all of your blessings, I will try to glorify the subject matter. So, let's go deep into this. So, in this verse, Prabhupada mentioned about few things. Prabhupada mentioning about desire and how to approach when we have a desire, and desire during an untimely situation or on-time demand kind of thing. So, if we see here, if we like in this particular chapter, in the beginning, Vidura, actually Mahatma Vidur basically he's inquiring to Maitreya Muni about the fight between Hiranyaksha and Varahadev. Very submissively, Vidura Muni is inquiring because he wants to understand every bit of it. He wants to get pleasure out of it. Generally, when whoever is a good fighter, he enjoys listening about how this combat and how this fight happened. So Vidura is inquiring about the fight between Hiranyaksha and Varahadev. So Maitreya started explaining about the origin of Hiranyaksha, how Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu took birth, how Varahadev finally killed Hiranyaksha. So in earlier chapters we have seen that Diti is mother of two sons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu are not two ordinary demons. They are very, very powerful. And if we see in scriptures, their basically Joy and Vijay, they were the doorkeepers in the Vaikuntha. They were doorkeeper at Vaikuntha, and they were just guiding the door so that Vishnu will be having, so that basically that was the service. So when Chatur Kumaras came to meet Vishnu at Vaikuntha, so as part of duty, Joy Bija did not allow them, so they got crossed and they were destined to born as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So Mother Diti has the task to carry them in their womb. So if we see that Mother Diti is not an ordinary woman or ordinary soul. Basically, she is daughter of Daksha Prajapati. Daksha Prajapati that time was very, very powerful. And she has 13 sisters. All of them are married to Kashyap Rishi. Kashyap Rishi also is very, very learned says. So Diti is very, very potent, very powerful, and side by side she knows her duty. She is well versed in the scripture. But from this pastime is basically for us to meditate on from this example. So here Prabhupada stresses about the word desire. So basically we see that our desire shapes our destiny. Every moment it changes. Now I will be desiring something. Tomorrow I will be desiring some other thing. Not even tomorrow. Now I will be desiring that yes, I want this beautiful car. But after 15 minutes, we'll desire, no, we want a better luxury car. So our desire, every moment it changes, and it basically based on our desire, our actions are also defined, and that basically defines our destiny. Now, if you see that we all live in the society, how is the society formed? Society is formed by the friendship and the love, and between, then there will be man and woman, then there must be children. There is undoubtedly some kind of pleasure is there, but that pleasure is so insignificant that it cannot be it can be compared just to a drop of water in the desert. So Prabhupada always quotes a beautiful bhajan from poet Vidyapati in most of his lectures. It goes by like this: Tatara saikate bari bindu sama sutamita ramai samaje tohe bisari mana tahe samarpala abamachu habo kono kaje. Basically, it means, oh Lord, I am completely forgetting you. I have offered my mind unto the society of women, children, and friends. But this experience has been just like offering a drop of water onto the burning hot sands of the beach. How can I possibly be relieved of this great misery? Now, our material life can be compared to the hot sands in the ocean. Hot sands of a desert. So in the desert, if we put just one drop of water to quench our thirst or to cool the sand, it doesn't work out. It needs basically a water from an entire ocean to cool it out, which is not possible. In this material life, everyone is hankering after happiness. So as in desert, everyone is hankering just after one drop of rain. Basically, if you see that we all are spirit souls, we are part and parcel of Krishna. Since we are spirit souls, we long for long-lasting spiritual love, which will be everlasting and which will be full of joy and bliss. We see that Krishna, we tell that Satchidananda, he is always, full of Sat, Chit and Ananda. Similarly, we also always look for bliss. That bliss can be eternal bliss, not like this kind of temporary bliss. But unfortunately, we seek pleasure at the material level, which is temporary. This car, the son, daughter, and then some kind of material benefits. Everything is temporary. Today it is there, tomorrow it won't be there. Why? Because we are at the material level, and whatever our dealing here is at the material level, and the material level is temporary. So to find love, what should we do in this case? We should instead of material happiness is temporary, we should hanker always for a long-lasting happiness, which is spiritual. So basically, we have to increase our standard, we have to increase our bar, we have to raise our consciousness at a spiritual level and desire the supreme spiritual Krishna. Basically, we should aspire, we should desire how to please Krishna. Krishna, we know that other name is Govinda. He is the pleasure giving to the senses and cows. Instead of fulfilling or satisfying our desires, we should see how to fulfill Krishna's desire. There are so many services. Krishna, basically, if we see that every day our Shamsundar or Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Gaunitai, they give us darshan in a different form, different. There is a different beauty. Today Krishna will look in a different way. Tomorrow he will look in a different way. But every form he is very beautiful. There are so many services we can do. We should do services in such a way that all our desire get concentrated. How to get shelter on the lotus feet of Govinda. Everything that triggers our desire, basically, if we see that there is a spark of Krishna's splendor. So we have to decide and redirect all our desire from this little spark to the entire sun. What is the entire sun? That entire sun is Krishna himself. So we should always try, instead of this little material spark, to the entire spiritual sun, so that our desire is finally completely satisfied, and we are in the form of a spiritual bliss kind of thing. So let's go to the next slide. So next here Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport that Diti well knew that her request might be rejected because of this untimely situation. So here we must understand that Mother Diti was 100% sure that this her desire or her expectation from Kashyap Muni is not suitable for the time. That was the evening time, it's not suitable. So we see that untimely when we desire something, that causes disturbance. That causes disturbance within us, in our family, or sometimes in a society also. So desire sometimes gets us into trouble. When we get lured into an addictive indulgence or a toxic relationship, then when we realize that we try to get rid of all our desires, but by the time it is too late, we are already into it. So why does desire come from? This desire basically comes from our comparing attitude or and then hankering attitude. What we generally compare? We compare ourselves to the other living beings. Sometimes we are not qualified, and we see that yes, the other person is doing it, I must do it, I must get it. In material level, sometimes we compare ourselves that with our neighbor. Yes, my neighbor has a beautiful Audi or a luxury car, I must get it. His son or her son is studying well, and we just demand, why my son is not studying well and my daughter is not doing well. And they have nice jewelries, this Mataji's nice jewelries is nice things, and I don't have it. So immediately the comparison starts. And we must sometimes this comparison attitude is at a different level with a man and woman. If we see this, Mataji sometimes are more attached to the generally the female persons, they're more attached to at the house level. They compare, the comparison starts within the material beings is more, and specifically they're attached to the sons and daughters or husband at the family level, then the counterparts. At Prabhu's level, the comparison is at a different level. But instead of this kind of comparison, we should compare in a different way. Then when we compare, we have seen that so many problems happen. We see that in Ramayana pastime, Manthara basically he instilled comparison thing within Kaikeyi's mind, that if Bharat Maharaj doesn't become a king, if Ram becomes king, then what will the situation of Kaikeyi? So immediate the comparison attitude starts there, and we see what happens. Then sometimes we see that we are not qualified. We come to a temple setup in a new, as a devotee base, we come to a temple setup in a new. We see that so many devotees are doing wonderful services. They are at a higher services. And so when we are new, we are asked, generally the Prabhupada always suggests to start everything at a menial level. Whenever you do, at a menial level, you learn and you stop up. So immediately the comparison attitude starts. This devotee or this Mataji is doing so wonderful garlands. She is doing so many nice sweets, and hereby I have been asked to just roll the chapatis or roll the puris or clean the pots. So why this is really unfair, and why they are not giving me to this high-end services. So immediately the comparison starts, and some kind of disturbances happen within our mind. So so in that case, we don't see that the other senior devotee had done so much groundwork. He has done so much sadhana. Basically, he has done so much austerities to come to that level. He has made himself qualified. Basically, when we enter to an university, there are so many so many steps are there. We read something, there is an exam, and we become ourselves qualified. Then only we get it over there. Just like that, we cannot get into an university to do our higher studies or to do our masters. So we have to go step by step by step. So similarly, when we in our day-to-day life, in a devotional setup, we also should understand that instead of comparing and hankering, we must understand that we have to do some kind of groundwork. We have to follow the process from the first step. Do menial services, do sadhu shastra sangha, and do association, do 100% association of the devotees, honoring prasadam, and you come to that level. And after coming to that level also, we cannot demand also certain things. We should leave at the hand of the higher authorities to decide. Because sometimes when we demand generally the higher authorities, whether it is a parent or a Vaishnava, because they sometimes become compassionate. With their compassionate nature, sometimes they agree to us. And when they agree to us, even if when we are not qualified enough, and there's a chance of we might not doing that job properly, there starts disturbance. The disturbance can affect the entire congregation, or at home, it can affect your home setup also. Sometimes we see that our kids do untimely demand. A small child will be seeing that yes, my father is holding an iPhone or any different kind of gadget. The kid also demand that I want the same thing. We don't give the child at the age of 5 a iPhone or a high-end gadget. Earlier when we were kid, it was not appropriate also to ask. But these days, anyway, the situation is different, where the kids are getting the gadgets and or any high-end phones or watches, everything. But as a kid, one should understand that what he is asking for, and as a parent also, we also should understand what we are giving. So the same way, we cannot compare and we cannot hanker, and we should not demand also untimely. Basically, on-time demand also causes so much disturbances. Just like an avocado, we go and buy an avocado from the store. When we buy avocado, we all are experienced in this. We get green avocado, then slowly it gets the black dots appear in them, and slowly it ripens. That's a natural process involves it. Sometimes it takes 2 days, sometimes it takes 3 days. Yeah. So sometimes we become impatient. I want to this avocado right away in my bread. So we caught it. The avocado is unripened. We can't eat it. We cannot do anything. We throw it. So naturally, when it ripens and it turns black, and when we cut it and offer and eat, that time basically we enjoy the fruit. Now these days there are so many disturbances going on, or so many articles are coming. The fruit dealers are using so much chemicals or pesticides or preservatives to hasten the ripening processes of the bananas or any kind of fruits. Basically, they're adding so much chemicals, so much methanol gas or something like that. They're adding into the fruits so that the fruits will ripe very quickly. We might see that these days we have mangoes throughout the year. Earlier days we used to get mangoes only from the month of May to the month of till July, but whole year these days we had the mangoes. And the bananas, we see that they will be in the store green, and the next day they're already yellow. So how they're yellow? Because forcibly we are ripening them. So whatever forcibly chemicals are adding to them, they are basically slowly affecting our body. The greenhouses are getting affected. Wherever they are putting other pesticides, these kind of chemicals, they are also other problems are happening. It is affecting the health issues. Some cases I was reading an article that this kind of toxic or chemical material can cause cancer also in some of the bodies also. It can cancer. So there is a time to everything. We should not be impatient, and we should leave everything sometimes to do it naturally. Of course, there are exceptions, but in general way, we should We should wait for the right time to do the right thing. So we see that on-time desire sometimes how it gets into trouble. So when we realize that we try to get rid of all our desires, then what we should do? What we do generally, we try to curb our desire. So how do you curb our desire? We forcibly our focus our mind, but that way we cannot stop our desires. Desires, they will keep on coming, keep on going. Sometimes we have seen that if we try to keep a football under the water, we push it. Yes, I'm successful to put it under the water for some time. The moment we leave our hand, the football again pops up at another place. So what basically we should do? I was listening to a beautiful class of Charan Prabhu, sorry. Charan Prabhu was nicely mentioning that we should not curb our desire. Instead, we should curb our desire by changing what we desire. So our desire should not be at the material level. It should be at spiritual level. It should be always aspiring to how to have a Sadhu Shastra and Sangha association. And that way, we can change our desire and change our destiny. Otherwise, with this material desire, we will be entangled in this lifetime. We will be taking birth repeatedly in this material world, and we won't be able to get the association of Krishna, or we won't be able to we won't be able to get the spiritual bliss. Now, regarding this desire, I was desire to surf. We should have a desire to surf. So the desire to serve should be how to whom we are serving. We have, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we have a facility here in every state. We have a nice facility of temple, and we have nice beautiful deities are there, and we have strong devotee associations are there. So we got an opportunity to serve this Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So we should always try to serve them, and we should always desire that how I can serve better with my proper knowledge. Yeah. So today, if I am doing serving if I am serving in a, suppose today I am serving in certain standard. Tomorrow I should meditate on my standards, and I should learn from others how to serve better way. So when there was Jananda Prabhu was there, he will be doing all kind of services. He will be doing he will be doing the groceries. He will be doing the menial services like clean up, and he was such a saintly soul. If required, he can do the deity dressing. He can cook an entire feast, and he side by side he was a taxi driver also. He used to get Lakshmi and give to Prabhupada for writing books, printing books. So when he was such an exalted Vaishnava, like everybody knew about him. But when you come to see him, where you will see him? You will see him near the garbage area. Basically, he will be cleaning the temple all the time. He will not ever hanker. But yes, this devotee is giving a beautiful Bhagavatam class or lecture class in the temple setup. I must do that. Or they are getting accolades, I must get it. He was never hankering for that, and he was never comparing for that. He was basically, because of him, he constructed the first Rathayatra cart. So cart in the cart. So Prabhupada, that's why when he left this material world, Prabhupada basically, that's why I told everybody that Jananda's photo should be always in the cart. Now this comparison and hankering, basically due to which our untimely desire starts, and this untimely desire should be somehow we should avoid. So now when we compare that I am not doing this service or I am not getting this. Sometimes this victim mentality comes within our mind. In Mahabharata, if we see that Karna and Arjuna, they were very, very powerful. But Karna's life started by comparing that I did not get this. My right was already taken by. So because of that, we see Though Karna was born from Mother Kunti, and Karna got the wrong association. And that caused basically the downfall of Karna. So when we compare, we should not compare with others. We should have a different benchmark. We should compare ourselves only with the person what we were yesterday. Like if we are trying to compare yourself in a devotional atmosphere, we can compare how we were serving 1 year before what we were, and now where we are. That if we compare that way, then we won't have this different kind of opinions about others. Sometimes when we compare, we see that we are at a higher position than others. Yes, I am doing better than this other devotee, other person, or in office setup or anywhere also. If we see that, not only in the devotional atmosphere or devotee atmosphere, everywhere, when we compare, we see that yes, I am in a different position than I am in a better position than the other person. Then immediately we get popped up. The superiority complex come within us. And sometimes we compare with others and we see that they are doing materially well, or they have in a better situation. So immediately the inferiority complex come within us. Both the superiority complex and the inferiority complex, they're kind of a pitfall for us. Both of them will take us in a negative direction, both the superiority complex and the inferiority complex. So instead of comparing with others, our benchmark should be us. What we were 1 year before, or 2 years before, or 5 years before, and how we have improved. If we are improving spiritually, or if we are improving materially by comparing ourselves, then we should be happy on that. And we should aspire how to improve. It's not like that we won't having any aspiration. We should definitely aspire how to improve on our own by setting a benchmark for us, by setting a checkpoint for us. So that way we won't have this hankering attitude. And that way we can also avoid both the pitfalls of the superiority complex and the inferiority complex. So there is a beautiful quote of Radhanath Maharaj. In spirituality, intelligence is the word of Krishna, the faculty within us that is able to discriminate between Krishna's desire and desire of our senses. Basically, we must understand what is Krishna's desire and what is our desire, and we should have the intelligence also to do that. If we don't have the correct right intelligence, then we won't be able to understand what is Krishna's desire and what is our desire. So if we don't have the right intelligence, what we will do? What will become? We'll become the slave of our senses, and our senses will take us in the direction of our desire, and we will behave that way, the way we want to. But instead, if we smarten our intelligence, then the faculty within us will able to discriminate between the right desire and the wrong desire. And then we can understand what is the real ultimate desire for us. The real ultimate desire is how to please Govinda. And how to sharpen the intelligence? The intelligence can be sharpened only by the association, honoring prasadam, sadhu, shastra and sangha, and reading scriptures. So here two things we discussed. One is the desire, and other is the untimely desire. So how our desire can affect, and how in an untimely situation, if we desire, how it creates disturbance. With this, I would like to end the class today. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, everyone.
Hare Krishna Mother, thank you very much. Okay. I'd like to wish you all a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. I'd forgotten yesterday, many were also celebrating their New Year, depending upon what region they were from. It was Baisakhi, Pohela Boishakhi, Bishu Basankranti, Bishu, Uthandu, Jul Sita, Rangoli Bihu, Chat Shukra, Sanken. So to all, Happy New Year. Today is Friday, beginning of long weekend. It's also Good Friday. The Christian faith follow it with a lot of reverence on spiritual subject matters in this particular day. Tomorrow evening from 5 to 9, we're going to have Ram Katha by His Grace Lal Govinda Prabhu at the temple. You're all invited. Also invite your friends so that they can all benefit from hearing the Ram Katha. Any other announcement, Krishna Prabhu?
That's it, Prabhu.
Okay. That being said, also Govindas will be on as every day, also over the weekend with special. That being said, we'd like to pray to the Supreme Lord by chanting 3 times Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Nrsinga, Jai Nrsinga, Jai Nrsinga, Praladesha, Jai Padma,
Jai Padma Mukha Padma Pringa.
Ugra Veeram Mahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvatam
Shringam Vishanam Patram Mrityam Namamiham.
Nrsinga Bhagwan ki Jai,
Jai.
Maharaj ki
Jai.
Prabhupada ki Jai. That's all for our humble obeisances at the lotus feet of all the Samar Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhayascha
Chakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Vaishnavinda ki Jai.
Jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Bol Premanande.
Hare Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hari.